Hello, I am Mia, the mental performance expert, licensed mental health therapist, and I am coming on today to give you two ways that you can start 2023 by reducing your emotional vulnerability. Now, if you're watching this at another time of the year, it doesn't matter. It's applicable at all times. I just know a lot of times we put a lot of pressure on ourselves for these big ticket items without understanding how to create a solid foundation. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, some of you might be thinking, what is reducing emotional vulnerability? So basically, how are you going to build a resilience that when something happens, something rocks the boat, it's not going to tip the boat over? It's basically building your resilience in your emotional, cognitive, and general ability to handle situations, to perform in any way like that. So, the number one thing is making sure that you are taking care of your physical and mental well being. That might seem like of course, but a lot of times those things go unnoticed. So let's start with the physical first. Physically, I want you to ask yourself the last time you went to the doctors or making sure that got your blood panel. Now, I might sound like a glass house here saying this. I had a horrible phobia of needles. I would do everything at all costs to avoid blood work. I went about almost a decade without getting it done. And then I finally got pregnant, couldn't avoid getting it done. And I found out I was both vitamin D deficient and iron deficient. Now, it's not earth shattering, but it's significant in that those things lead to fatigue. Now, tell me the last time you felt tired or didn't feel good physically, and this didn't impact how you thought or like your focus. So it's really important to take care of like the very basics physically, schedule the doctor's appointments. There's different types of doctors that you need to honor. If you have stomach problems, go see a gastrointestinal doctor. There are different types of doctors that you need to give yourself permission to pursue to make sure those bottom line things are taken care of, because if they're not, they're going to hinder how you show up, how you think, and how you feel. So that is the first tip in terms of your physical wellness. Now, your mental wellness, when I talk about that, is not judging what's going on for you. If you've been feeling more depressed, if you've been feeling more anxious, give yourself permission to consult with a therapist. It's non obligation. There's typically people available through your insurance. There's a number of platforms you can look into. There's Psychology Today, where you can put in what insurance you have. There's private pay if you don't want to deal with insurance. And then there's another platform called Alma that I personally am a provider on too. But basically, it's really nice because you could put in the hours you're available and have someone that typically is through your insurance so that you're not paying too much if that's not something you can afford. So, that is giving yourself permission in terms of your mental well being. So, physically, if you're aching, if you're hurting, if you're not feeling good, see the physical therapist, make the doctor's appointment, make sure you're taking care of yourself, and don't wait till the very last minute. Don't wait till you can't handle it anymore to start doing these things. My number two way to take care of yourself is to really not assume that what you've been doing still works for you. We go through different seasons of our lives. We have different energy cycles. We have different obligations, different responsibilities, and different liberties. Sometimes we're able to do something at one point in our life that we're not, and vice versa. So I want you to just give yourself permission to reassess what you're doing in terms of your exercise, how often, when you're exercising, in terms of the time of day, how frequently, what type of exercise you're doing, right? I'm not exercising the same way I am now as when I was a Division 1 athlete. My hips and my knees won't allow it. So, just that type of exercise, your sleep routine. Again, it's not just how much sleep you're getting. Yes, that's very important, but it's also the quality and the routine and the hygiene leading up to and then in the morning. So reassess those things. Um, Anything along those lines of just like your routine, your time of day, the nutrition you're putting in your body, the hydration. Again, I'm not a nutritionist, but I can tell you that the quality or not giving your body what it needs and not having it work for you, you're not going to feel good. That's why they call it hangry. That's like basically if you're not giving your mind the idea that it's safe and it's going to be comforted with what it needs, it's not going to perform at those higher levels. So if you're setting these big ticket goals, these big ticket items, make sure you're doing these two things, that you're attending to your mental and physical health and that you are not assuming that what you've been doing works for you still, that you're reassessing and you're recalibrating, reforming these things, you will go into this new year or wherever you're at with a much more successful chance and reducing your emotional vulnerability.